This is the Tigers POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Detroit Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Tarik Skubal, my goodness. On a day the Tigers needed it. They needed a stopper, and boy, did Tarik Skubal show up in the biggest way possible. That's what we're talking about on a live Locked On Tigers postcast. As always, welcome in. My name is Jake Riepma. I am your host. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake_Riepma. And this is the Locked On Tigers postcast, your instant reaction show. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts, and of course on YouTube. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team each and every day. You know, we're talking about Tarik Skubal on today's show. Why wouldn't we? And we'll probably talk some more Tarik Skubal. That's how good he was in the big bounce back game. Tigers salvage one from the 4-game series and have 3 more at home against a good San Francisco Giants team. So we'll look ahead to that one as well. I'll have our talking point, our turning point, and our player of the game, which I'll give you one guess on that. So let's do it. Buckle up and dial it in. As always, your comments are welcome. It's a collaborative environment here on a Locked On Tigers postcast. And on a Sunday, an early game as well, the Roku game. How about that? You had to get up early and have your coffee at the ballpark. You got to love that. And with how quickly the game was played, when you got Tarik Skubal mowing down the opposition and a complete game shutout in under 100 pitches, we get on with our Sunday. How about that? Go have a great rest of your day when we get off with our Locked On Tigers postcast, and enjoy the holiday weekend, which is a good time also to salute all those that have served and made possible our freedom in the United States, the greatest country in the world. A salute to my brother who served in the U.S. Army and all those who have served to make our freedom possible. That being said, want to take your comments on the Tarik Skubal complete game shutout, his first career complete game shutout. Now, I knew that was the case, but just even when you hear that, for how dominant Tarik Skubal has been, the reigning Cy Young winner, and how good he's been over the course of his career, it was still somewhat surprising to hear that was his first career complete game shutout. Obviously, he's capable, and it's just it's a testament to the way the game has changed. You just don't see a lot of complete game shutouts, and you don't see a lot of complete games, period. And the way that the managing of pitch count and everything else, and I know we have baseball purists on here that, and I'm one of them, say, I miss the old days where you had pitchers throwing 120 plus and going for those complete games. So each and every complete game and a complete game shutout that you see is more and more rare, making it more and more special, at least in my opinion. And raise your hand and let me know in the comments, because I think we can all agree through 5 innings, we were buckling it up and really dialing it in, and thought of maybe seeing some history this afternoon at Comerica Park. And you still see the historic performance from Tarik Skubal, but the double in the 6th inning removes the perfect game and the no-hitter opportunities for Tarik Skubal. But all that said, best start of the season for Tarik Skubal. Let's run through these numbers, and while we're doing that, we know that is in fact our biggest takeaway. It's the Talking About segment.
This is what you'll be talking about.
I think all of baseball will be talking about Tarik Skubal's performance today. If I'm putting together the rundown for baseball tonight or the Sunday night baseball pregame show, Tarik Skubal is in that A block. 9 innings, 2 hits only, 0 runs, 13 strikeouts, and he did not walk a batter. And when you dive in even deeper to this performance, it truly is as dominant of a performance as you will see without being a complete game, or a perfect game, I should say. And I was talking with my brother who was at the game. I was talking to him quite a bit while he was at the game, and just what he was witnessing. I mean, you didn't see a 2-ball count for the Guardians until the 5th inning. Just insane, diabolical stuff from Tarik Skubal on the mound. He was a little emotional post-game as well, talking about what it means to him and, of course, his wife and young boy, and just all of the emotions after a truly incredible performance after the Tigers needed it in losing the first 3 of the series to the Cleveland Guardians, so able to salvage one more. A few more notes on Tarik Skubal. The swinging strikes is just insane. 26 swinging strikes. That's just, I mean, the guy had it. What else can you say? The guy had it. I'm running out of ways to describe it. So let's see what the comments have to see. Right. David Fly saying the price is going up. Yeah, that's another part of the conversation of Tarik Skubal is when is that long-term contract going to be signed? Price is going up. That was an absolute gem. I'll eat Chris's cardboard crust ketchup sauce sawdust cheese pizza every day if it means Tarik never pitches for another team. I think we can all get on board with that. Hot and ready's for everybody if it means Tarik Skubal is a Tiger for life. DT Lions jumping in. He says Skubal is a superhuman. Pitching 100 plus at the end of the game is insane. Yes, great point from DT Lions. And I had that in my notes to get to. And if I was a better postcast host, I would have gotten to it sooner. But he's topping 100 miles per hour in that final 9th inning. Shades of old Justin Verlander, must-see JV, when he would get stronger and his pitches would get faster and the velocity would be turned up as the game got later and later and later. So amazing stuff all the way around. Cindy Springer says, great game with a lot of emojis. I'm with you there. James Fayani says, too bad it was only on Roku. I did enjoy listening to Benetti and Dirks on 97.1 though. There you go. Catch the radio broadcast. Yeah, interesting. I mean, listen, I don't want to get into this too much. I was going back and forth with the listener on Twitter yesterday because it was kind of the same situation with the Fox broadcast yesterday where it wasn't available everywhere. And then the Roku broadcast, I had a couple of buddies in a different group text, one with my good buddy Jeff Rieger from 97.1 The Ticket, talking about how can you watch this game if you don't have Roku. I think Roku is on the Amazon Fire Stick package or a part of it. You can download it, but if you don't have that, yeah, listen, I get it. I am with you. It's I don't know why Major League Baseball does this. They make it hard to be a fan at times. And I mean, you know my story. I use MLB TV and have had my struggles at times with that. And fortunately, I was able to have the Tigers game on MLB TV the last 2 games, even though it was a Fox broadcast on Saturday and a Roku broadcast today. I really honestly don't know how that I pull up my MLB TV app and pray that it shows up. I got a few other shortcuts just in case if I can't get it on my MLB TV package. It's good to know people in the business, I guess, to be able to get that MLB login just in case. But that being said, hey, yeah, tune in to Benetti and Dirks on the radio. They're always entertaining. So I'm sure that was a good broadcast. I did not catch any of the 97.1 The Ticket broadcast as I had the Roku on it, which was kind of an interesting broadcast combination because you got the game analysts from Cleveland and the sideline reporter from Cleveland, and then Dan Dickerson on the play-by-play there. All right, more on Tarik Skubal here. Daniel G says Skubal is a sicko to end it with a 103 mile per hour heater. Yeah, that's just right up his alley. I mean, that is, if you think of Tarik Skubal, it's the 103 mile per hour fastball in the 9th inning as he's completing his 9th inning in a complete game shutout. Just amazing stuff. Demetrius McNeil, Tarik Skubal wants to make sure that the Tigers will not get swept by the Guardians. That 5-run bottom of the 4th became a huge play. Next opponent, please. The next opponent are the San Francisco Giants. Yeah, Tigers bats were really good in early, and I think with Logan Allen on the mound, talking to a Guardians fan, he's like, yeah, we're going to go ahead and chalk this one up as a loss when you got Tarik Skubal against Logan Allen, who's now 2-3. He went 3 2/3, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, struck out 2 and walked 4, and not necessarily the top of the rotation for the Cleveland Guardians in that sense. But Tigers needed this one. There's no doubt about it. We can all agree with that the Tigers needed this one. And you know what? I agree with this comment here from Aura, I hate how we lost this series, but glad Skubal could get us one. That's pretty much it. Yeah. And Skubal talked about it in his post-game interview saying, this was a very competitive series. They just were some close games that went the way of the Guardians. And we're going to play Cleveland plenty more times, being a divisional opponent, of course. And it'll be interesting to see. And I've got a good feeling. I've got a good feeling that some of these closer matchups down the road against the Guardians will go the Tigers' ways. Some interesting questions here on the Locked On Tigers postcast. Wonder why Stephen Kwan didn't start. They did talk about both Carlos Santana and Stephen Kwan not playing for the Guardians because they're gearing up for a series against the Dodgers. And again, not saying it's a throwaway game. I certainly wouldn't put that label on it. But when you got Logan Allen going against Tarik Skubal, some guys might be needing some days off because the Guardians, just like the Tigers, played 13 days in a row before gearing up for that series against the Dodgers for the Guardians. But listen, you play 162 games, of course, but at the same time, there's going to be times where you set things up to be successful in your next series. And again, not using the term throwaway game by any means for the Guardians, but there was an element of it looked like the managerial decisions were made with the thought of what will this team be able to bring in their next series against the Dodgers. Okay, there is my 2 cents worth less than that. Let's go ahead and take a quick timeout because we got to get to our player of the game on the other side of this. Let me know in the comments who your player of the game is and your turning point. That's all next on Alive, Locked On Tigers postcast. This episode of the Locked On Tigers postcast is brought to you by FanDuel. America's #1 sportsbook is FanDuel. And guess what? I've got good news for everybody because right now the NBA playoffs are in full swing and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't miss opponents. Whether it's game-winning shots or, that breakout player, there's never, ever been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live with player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. Listen, you take the over on Skubal strikeouts, and that would have hit today. 13 of them. I love to do that and combine it with a little same game parlay. That's great stuff right there. Maybe you take the over and the Tigers money line. That would have won today. And you know what? If you've got a read on who's heating up, back it up with a same game parlay. And right now, if you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head over to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. How about that? New to FanDuel, sign up at FanDuel.com, place your first $5 bet, and if it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right. Glad to have you along on Alive, Locked On Tigers postcast. And it's always a pleasure, especially after a Tigers victory and a victory they absolutely had to have against a Guardians team that had taken the first 3 of the series. So they salvaged one game and now look ahead to the San Francisco Giants at Comerica Park, a little interleague series. Let's get into our player of the game before we look ahead to the series. But before even that, how about a turning point? We're all over the place, Jake.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
I always love that sounder because it always throws me a curveball because I'm thinking turning point and then it says where the game was won or lost. And I can't help myself but say this game was won in warmups when you have Tarik Skubal warming up to be your starting pitcher facing Logan Allen. That's where the Tigers won this game. But that would probably not suffice as a turning point in the game, but we're all thinking it, right? How about when the Tigers were able to strike for 5 runs in the bottom of the 4th. You get contributions from Zach McKinstry. My brother and I were texting during the game. As I mentioned, he was there. There's just something about seeing Zach McKinstry go yard and, whatever he is, all of 160 pounds, just Central Michigan grad, great stuff there. Fire up chips to all the chips in the chat. And seeing him round the bases, you're like, that's our guy, man. That's our guy. He's gritty. He represents what this Tigers team's all about. And, when the Tigers had that 2-0 lead off of the initial 2-run homer from Zach McKinstry, you're thinking, all right, that's all Skubal needs on a day like today. Go ahead and add the Gleyber Torres double, scoring Javi Baez. Boy, Gleyber Torres has been good too. Great. I mean, such a great acquisition in the offseason that, frankly, I wasn't skeptical, but I was just curious how it would work out. And it's obviously been an absolute pleasure and an asset having Gleyber Torres in that lineup. And then Andy Ibanez scoring Gleyber Torres on the single, moving up to second. I thought the Guardians really threw the ball around the yard, kind of looked like a little league team at times in that inning, allowing the Tigers to take extra bases. I mean, that was the one that should have been cut off, but it allowed Ibanez to get up to second, and then the throwing error that allowed Ibanez to score. And Logan Allen, again, making a couple of errors in that one. But all that said, that's where the game turned. And then you got Tarik Skubal on the mound, who obviously is our player of the game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Tarik Skubal, complete game shutout, first in his career. We've talked enough about how dominant it was. If you watch the game, that's the best pitcher in baseball. There's no doubt in my mind. So Skubal, absolutely dominant on a game the Tigers had to have it because they avoid the 4-game sweep. They salvage one game, and now the San Francisco Giants come to town. Now, the Tigers projected starters for the series over the course of the next 3. Remember, tomorrow will be an earlier game because of the holidays. So Cater Montero is going to get the start. It's a 1:10 Eastern first pitch at Comerica Park. Hayden Birdsong for the Giants. And then in game 2, Tuesday night, 6:40 first pitch, it'll be Jack Flaherty on the bump. And like we've been talking about all season long, time for him to turn it around. And then Jackson Jobe will get the ball in the finale. He's 4-1, suffered his first loss the last time out. So a lot to prove in this one, because you talk about the Giants as a ball club in that National League West, one of the best divisions in baseball. You could make the case for the American League Central, that's for sure. But the Dodgers leading the National League West at 32-20, but the Giants in second in that division at 30-22. They're 6-4 in their last 10. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to bringing you all the action. Thanks as always for tuning into the Locked On Tigers postcast. Make sure you like and subscribe, and check out Locked On Tigers on the daily as well. A couple more comments. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and Rufus T. Cat, great way to end it here. Going ahead and say Pause is the player of the game. Yeah, we gotta have some love for Pause when he's out there every day for the Tigers. So, all right. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Tigers beat the Guardians, and a day they really dominated from start to finish. 5-0 the final in this one. Tarik Skubal doing Tarik Skubal things. The bullpen gets the day off because he goes all 9. First career complete game shutout. And the Tigers top the Cleveland Guardians. Up next, it's the San Francisco Giants. Day game tomorrow. Happy Memorial Day. Thanks to all those who have served, and I appreciate everyone tuning in. We'll see you next time. Make sure you like and subscribe. Check out Locked On Tigers. And as always, have a wonderful rest of your day. And thanks so much for making the Locked On Tigers postcast your post-game destination. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts, and of course on YouTube. See ya.